Thank you for joining today. We're going to be learning about how to connect your workflows, seamless Adobe integrations with Microsoft and Salesforce. I am joined here today by two of my colleagues, Tim and Jenny. Tim is one of our senior managers for DME strategy. When we have a heavy hitter or we need some excellent wisdom shared, we always tap Tim and team. I've been working with him for about 6 years and he is a breath of knowledge. Then I would like to introduce Jenny Ho. She's one of our senior product marketing managers here at Adobe. Her expertise falls in our partnership with Salesforce. So any integration that we have in the Document Cloud or Creative Cloud with Salesforce, that falls on Jenny. So we are very happy to have her on the call with us today too. So why don't we go ahead and take a look at today's agenda. I'm going to start things off with a high-level overview of our solutions here at Adobe so that we can level set and we can all be on the same page. Then we're going to pass things off to Tim, who's going to take us through how to work on PDFs inside Microsoft applications. Then we're going to roll right into ensuring PDF security and compliance with some of our partners like Microsoft. Tim's going to take us through that as well. And then we're going to wrap things up with Jenny taking us through Acrobat Sign and Salesforce. We have a brand new integration hot off the market, and she's very excited to share. First things first, if we take a look at Adobe, it's very important to understand how we break up our business. We have the Creative Cloud, Experience Cloud, and the Document Cloud. The Creative Cloud is all of your Photoshops, Illustrators, Lightrooms, Premiere Pros, all those creative applications that we've come to know and love. And then if we step to the left and we're looking at the Experience Cloud, this is really ensuring the whole customer journey from start to finish. These are your applications like Marketo, Magento, our campaign applications as well. What we are going to be hyper-focusing on today is what we like to call the Adobe Document Cloud. And you might be wondering, what is Adobe Document Cloud? Adobe Document Cloud is a combination of these apps and services that you see on the screen. Applications like Adobe Acrobat, Adobe Scan, which is one of our mobile applications. If you haven't downloaded that, I highly suggest that you do so. I do all of my taxes every year with my CPA using Adobe Scan. And then if we move over to the right, our e-signature solution, which is Adobe Acrobat Sign. Furthermore to the right, document services. So our PDF services APIs, we have open APIs. So if we don't have an integration that you would like out of the box, we allow you the ability to home grow that application if you so choose. And then of course, our bread and butter, our integration ecosystem, which we'll be discussing today. One thing that I do want to note is when you hear Document Cloud, I want you to understand that this is not enterprise security like Box or Dropbox or SharePoint. Document Cloud is workflow and collaboration storage, not enterprise storage. So I wanted to make sure we were very clear on that. I'd like to do a double click into Adobe Acrobat Sign because this is what we'll be focusing on the most today. Couple things that I'd like everyone to walk away with on this slide. First thing, we are the simplest signing experience out there. Any participant in a signing ceremony doesn't have to create a login, doesn't have to create an account. All they need is access to their email and internet. It really is that simple. The second thing, we'll be talking about Microsoft a lot. I want everyone to know that we are Microsoft's preferred e-signature solution. If you are a Microsoft shop, look no further. We are dubbed the preferred signature solution for their applications. So we are co-building, we are co-engineering products constantly with Microsoft's engineering teams to go to market, to increase workforce productivity, to make your lives that much easier. And the last thing, all the security and compliance that you would expect from a company like Adobe and Microsoft. We'll be diving into that a little bit more in depth with Tim here in a second. The next thing that I would like to cover is our integration ecosystem as a whole. If you're looking at this dial here on the right-hand side, you might be able to see partners like Workday if you're using an HCM in-house, companies like Oracle, NetSuite, PeopleSoft if you're using an ERP solution. We also have partners like Conga, Salesforce, which we'll be discussing here in a second. Google, so if you're a G Suite company, that we can play there too. iCertis and Apttus and a couple others as well. We have tons of out-of-the-box integrations that require zero to no coding. I'm not the most technical person in the world, but I have set up some of these integrations myself. So rest assured that these are simple, they are quick, and they are easy. The last thing that I would like to cover, and this is more of a visual aid for the folks out there, but our partnership with Microsoft is pretty deep as you can see. Across the board, we have integrations with Acrobat Sign and Adobe Acrobat in Teams, OneDrive, SharePoint, Dynamics 365, all the applications in the M365 suite, so PowerPoint, Outlook, Word as well. And if you're using Azure Active Directory, we also integrate into that too, so you can sync all of your data in-house. But with that, I would love to turn it over to Tim to discuss how to show or how to use these tools in action.
Yeah, I'd like to go ahead and show you what the integrations are specifically between Adobe Acrobat and Microsoft Teams. So let's go ahead and take a look. First up, if you install Acrobat DC or Document Cloud after you have Teams installed, you might not actually see the integrations right away. What you'll need to do is click on the little dots here. You might even need to type in the word Acrobat so you can see it, and then you can choose them. Now, what I've done is chosen them, and I've pinned them so that they're here all the time. It's that useful to me, and I use them frequently. And there are a variety of things that you can do, tools that you can use, etc. So for example, you might want to compress a PDF or organize pages. In fact, if you want to see more, click on All Tools, and you'll see that there's quite a robust set of tools from Acrobat inside Teams that you could take advantage of. Now, I'm going to go back home. What I want to do is I'm working with a customer, and I've got a document that I want them to receive regarding a sale that we're working on. It's a set of materials and such that are for selling. And so I'm going to go ahead and select Combine Files, because right now they live as individual PDF files, or in some cases, they're not even PDFs yet. I have a team set up for this. It's actually a channel in a team set up for Altera, and this is a particular project. I'm going to go ahead into the sales material folder that we've set up in Teams, and you can see that I have a variety of files here. So what I want to do is just select the 4 that I'm interested in combining. And I don't want this one. We'll take that one and continue. Acrobat is just using its technology in the background, and it's going to go ahead, combine the files, create little previews for me that I'm going to use to better manage this overall project. In fact, if they're not already in PDF form, it'll go ahead and convert them to PDF and then offer them to me for combination. And there. Now, Acrobat is showing me the files that it's going to combine. But before I do, I really want to mix it up a little bit. What I'm going to do here is take some things out of order. First, I'll open this file. This is a presentation, and it's got a nice opener slide. So I'm going to grab it and just drag it to the beginning of the overall document. And here we go. And now this file will be in front of these 3 pages of a file, and which I should say started out as a Word file. The one last mix that I want to create is to grab this image on this page. I know there's some text on the page about wearing a mask, and we should provide the images of the mask. So I'm going to go ahead and drag that image right in there. Now there's a picture of the mask in the document right after the document refers to the mask. At this point, I've got a document that's ready to go. So really all I need to do is simply hit Combine. Acrobat, again, behind the scenes, it'll do the conversion, it will pull everything together, and it will create a combined file that is exactly what I need. What's really nice about this integration is that because I pulled from Teams in the first place, this combination is now sitting in the folder in the team channel. And because the people that I'm working with all have access to that folder, both inside and outside of my company, it's just there for them. I don't have to remember to send it to anybody or email it or whatever. It's there and available to them. Now, if I want to do all that and I want to send it out, whatever, I could just download the file, but really I don't need to. And again, that's just the value of the integration. So what I want to do is just go ahead and let my customer have access to it. Basically, what I've done is saved myself the process of collecting a bunch of files, first converting them to PDF, opening them in Acrobat, combining them together, mixing the pages, which I can do in Acrobat. I was able to do all that in one step right here in real time while working with the customer. And the mere fact that I did it now means that it's ready to go. If I come back over here to my Teams and go into my Teams Altera project, you can see that in the sales material, there's a new file there. You can also see that I've done this a couple of times before, but the new file, the employee form combined, is right here and ready to go. And if I want to rename it using Teams, I can, or I can actually just set it to share so that even if a person doesn't necessarily have access to Teams, I can send them a link that will get them access to that file directly. That's what I love about the Acrobat integration with Teams. And I have to tell you, it's just one example of the many, many ways that Acrobat inside Teams is allowing me to take full advantage of both Adobe's Acrobat technology and Microsoft Teams technology. So let's take a look at something else that I might want to do, though. In this case, it's gather a signature. Adobe Acrobat Sign is also integrated with Teams very nicely. When I choose it, I've got the capabilities of Acrobat Sign available to me. I would normally see this, in a browser if I were using Acrobat Sign outside of Teams, but I want the send for signature capabilities right here. So in this case, I just want to request a signature, and there's all kinds of information here, but I just want to select request signatures to kick off this process for the purpose of this demo. Now, the first thing that I need to know is the email address of the person I want to send to. And I've already done this before, so you'll see when I type it in, it remembers it. That's actually very nice. If it were a multi-signature document, I could enter a number of different recipients. This one's not, so I'll just go ahead and leave it. We'll give the agreement a name. We'll just call this employment agreement because that's what I'm doing with this. And I'm actually going to put this employment agreement in front of a potential employee right now in Teams, and I really want to capture them while their interest is high. We've had a great conversation, and we're ready to go, so let's go ahead and capture the moment. What I'm going to do is I'm also going to take some steps with the file, though. For example, I want to set a completion deadline, and we'll set that deadline right here for November 10th. It'll give them just a little over a week. I'm also going to set a reminder to remind them so that, every week until they sign it, or I could say every day, they'll get a reminder so that we don't lose that momentum, or at least they don't forget to sign it. And actually, this person's really kind of hot to trot, so I'll go ahead and set it to every day, and we'll capture them. I'm going to leave everything else alone, except now I need to actually add an agreement to the mix. In this case here, I've got an agreement that's standing by. It's a new agreement that I haven't used before, so I'll just click it, drag it over here, and I'm almost ready to go, except that I need to preview and add the fields to the document because although I could have built that in previously using Acrobat and some of the tools there, this just is a PDF that's some plain Jane and there's nothing in it. Sign lets me take care of that right here. So I'll choose Preview and add signature fields and select Next. It's going to process the document, load it into the Sign server, and start getting it ready for me to send to my recipient. Though what I need to do now, if I scroll through this, I can look and see that there are 5 areas into which I want someone to type information. So all I'm going to do is click Add Fields. This agreement is made on what date? So I'll go ahead and use the signature info field date. Drag that over here. And Acrobat Sign will actually make it the right size to fit the area that I want it to be in. That's a little bit of the Adobe Sensei AI magic at play. Now I want to add, not a signature field, we'll go back. What I want to do is add a name because I want them to put their name in there. So I'll add the name field. I'm going to scroll down and I'm going to do the exact same thing down here. I'm asking for that same information twice, no problem. There's the printed name, so we'll grab that. We'll grab the date again, pop that in. We'll actually resize it a little bit to make sure it fits. And then last but not least, we'll go ahead to the signature field. And I just want to add a standard signature field right there. This document is ready to go. And one of my favorite things about this whole process is, while I'm talking or working with this on a particular employee, I've got 5 more interviews to do. And I really anticipate that I want to bring them on. So I'm going to go ahead and save this as a template. And I'm actually not going to do it for this demonstration, but yeah, I could. And what that means is that I can just repeat this process over and over again using the template and sending it out as opposed to even having to go through this process that I've just shown you. In fact, I could do it all at once, sending out to multiple recipients at the same time. And as I'm working through this, it takes me 0 time to send this agreement out, to click send. In other words, I've got employees that are potential employees that are hot to trot. I'm capturing them right here, right now. What's happening in Sign is it's making the file, setting it up, and sending it out to that email address that I typed in. And it's now in their inbox. So to show you what that's like, I'm going to kind of change personas and take the role of the employee. And I'll jump over to Google Chrome, which is where I have my email. And you can see that I've received an email that has an agreement. And if I click it, it's a request for a signature. And it's an employment agreement. And all I need to do is, and I need no other technology to do this than an email client or a browser. I'm going to go ahead and review and sign. I'll open in a window. It's telling me all the places that I need to sign. And that's interesting that Tim Carpenter and the data are in there. And that's because I've worked with them before. And so Adobe Sign recognizes them as someone that I know. And so it actually, because it recognized that, was able to fill in the information for them to get started. Of course, they can change it if they need to. And also, it's also picked up the date of the agreement. And so if I were to scroll down, you can see that it picked up the date, it got the name, and it duplicated that information down here, which is great because you don't have to do it twice. The final step that I need to do is click here to sign. And you can see that because this person has signed before, it remembers that. Now, I'm going to click the edit signature just to show you how easy this process is. It knows my name, so I'm just going to go ahead and pick that up. But I want to draw my signature so it looks like a real signature. I'm a very, very bad drawer, but there you go. That's my signature. Click apply. And I can even type in here, I agree. I don't have to do that. That's optional, but it's just a way to indicate why I'm signing the signature in case it was unclear. And then finally click OK. Now, there's one last step, and that is that I filled it all out. But at this moment, when I click this, I'm now agreeing to the terms and conditions of this agreement. It'll process the document, send it back to Teams, and in a moment, you'll see Teams pop up with a notification. So let's go back over to Teams and take a look at what we have. First off, it's been successfully set for signature. Okay, that's good. I click over here on the activity, and I can see that it's been signed. So I'll just go ahead and click here, and it brings me to the Manage component of Sign within Teams. And if I look, the document has been signed. And I can do a variety of things here to manage the document if I need to, including I can download it. I can download an audit report to see when it was signed, etc. And if there's data in the form field, such as the name and the date, I can actually download that and use it in some other system if that's what I need to do. In fact, if I close this up, I can look at managing all of the agreements that I'm working through with Sign. For example, this is an agreement that was sent to me that I haven't yet signed. If I click on completed, here's Tim Carpenter's completed form, which again, I could open, or I can, download it and take a look at some of the other ways that I can manage it. But what I might want to do is just click here to add some notes. Tim was very interested in the job. He seemed very excited. He can only start through, 2 weeks from today. Now in Teams, connected to the document that I've had someone sign is information that allows the next person or the person I'm working with internally to, understand something about the document that I might want to share. In this case, the HR department needs to understand that Tim Carpenter is very excited and maybe they should expedite the process of onboarding him. This isn't a comprehensive list of things you can do, but it's kind of getting to the point of what the integration can do for you. If you want to learn more about this, we've got some really helpful tutorials built right into this experience that you can use to go ahead and learn more. What I've hoped to show you is that with these two integrations, if you're a Teams user, and I really like Teams, and I can say that I would recommend it actually, you can save yourself time and effort by working directly in a Teams experience, even during a meeting while people are alive on board. Get them the documents that you want them to have them just automatically be in the place that they can get at them. No more sending things by email and wondering if they got there. It's right there available for them. It's these integration in Teams that save me, as someone who uses Teams and PDF frequently, a ton of time by not having to jump into a separate applications, not having to look for things and find them in folders, not having to collect a bunch of files into a folder so I can refine them before I can begin to work with them. These are the things that are small drags on my business, but they add up to an enormous waste of time where I can avoid all of that by leveraging the integrations here between Teams and Adobe Acrobat.
Love that. Thank you, Tim. Great demo. We had some questions thought it would be good to ask at the end of this section, but one of the questions was, does this work on both platforms, iOS versus PC? So
not iOS. I am talking about the Macintosh operating system and Windows. So yes, the demo that I did for you was done on a Macintosh system, and that's not an uncommon question. Everything you saw here today is absolutely feature parity between the two systems. There are some integrations that are a little bit different on the Windows side than on the Mac side, but overall, yes, you can depend on the exact same experiences across the board.
Great, thank you. And then one other question we had is everything Acrobat can do, is that available inside Teams?
Excellent question. And the answer is no. The things that we've done with the integration really are the kinds of tasks that you would do, while working on a document in the first place, more likely in a Microsoft product in many cases. So there are things, though, that you might want to do to post-process PDFs. One of my favorites being the Action Wizard, which allows you to connect a bunch of things together and process a bunch of PDF files, automatically. So there are some differences. So there's a good reason to have Acrobat on the desktop, even though we have these wonderful integrations.
Love it. Thank you. And final question. Are there other integrations outside of Teams we should be aware of?
Yeah, absolutely. Into the individual authoring applications on the Microsoft side, there are tools that allow you to very easily not just create a PDF, but create the kind of PDF that you want, having it be optimized per size, adding a password to it, things like that. So, yep, there are other integrations to explore beyond Teams.
Love it. Thank you. All right, with that, let's go ahead and move on to our next session, which is ensure PDF security and compliance. But we're going to be discussing Microsoft Purview Information Protection, or MPIP, which is formerly known as MIP. So a couple things to note. MPIP is Microsoft's highest level of data protection that they offer. And this is unique because inside Acrobat, we are able to classify documents as MPIP encrypted documents, which is what Tim will show us here in a second. One thing to note is that if you are an M365 E3 or higher subscriber, you have access to this type of software. So just talk to your admin about that in case you wanted access to this type of security and protection. If we move to the next slide, some benefits of MPIP in Adobe Acrobat is one, the encryption levels, but the access restrictions as well. So you are able to set restrictions on how much time someone is able to view a document, if they're able to copy any of the material on it, if they're able to print the document. So say if I wanted to give Tim access to a document for a week and no more, I can set those type of restrictions inside MPIP. But this is a native out-of-the-box integration, no coding required, which makes it that much sweeter of a deal. So with that, I'd like to turn things over to Tim to discuss MPIP.
Okay, so let's go ahead and take a deeper look into the ways that Adobe Acrobat can protect your content in a PDF file. We'll start with what's built right into Acrobat using password protection. Here, I have a document. It's a presentation, and I want to share it with my colleagues for review. Acrobat has some great commenting and markup tools that will allow me to gather feedback from all over the place, but in an electronic way. It's very efficient, however. What I don't want is people to use the edit PDF capabilities to quote-unquote help me by making changes directly. I want them to request the change, and then I'll manage all of the process of making the changes based on those requests. The other thing I don't want is people to be able to take stuff out of the document. So for example, there's a logo here. It might be a new version of the Altura logo. And as such, I don't want people to copy it out of Acrobat and start to use it as if it's an approved logo, because it might not be. To accomplish that, I'm going to select the Protect capability, and in the Protect bar here, I'm going to go ahead and choose Protect using password. In the simplified interface, I could just type in a password and then retype it to make sure I've gotten it correct, and then click Apply, and I'd be good to go. But I actually need a little more control than that. So I'm going to select Advanced Options, Encrypt with Password, and I'll start by requiring a password just to even open the document. Again, it's company proprietary information. It's a good, strong password according to Acrobat, so I'll go with it. But here's where the real power comes into play. What I want to do is also restrict editing and printing of the document. So first up, I don't want people to print it. I don't want sheets of paper coming back to me with markups from pens and markers and such. I've got some colleagues with some old habits, and I need to try and break them of those habits to save our company money, frankly. However, I do want changes, but not all of the changes. So what I mean by that is I'm going to go ahead and select the options and choose commenting, filling in form fields, and signing existing signature fields. That'll make it so that someone can open the document in Acrobat using the commenting toolset, make the comments, but they can't actually change the underneath content. I do not want them to copy images and text and other content out, because as I mentioned, that logo might be tempting to copy and start using it, but it's not ready. So I don't want to allow that. I do, however, want to enable access for a screen reader. What this allows for is a document to be accessible according to the Americans with Disabilities Act laws about electronic documentation. And I put a password in here because at some point I may want to take these protections off the document and continue to work with it. So I'll go ahead, I'll type a different password. Again, it's a good strong password, so I'm ready to go. At this point, when I click OK, Acrobat is going to ask me to confirm the passwords that I have just set. Because if you've forgotten those passwords, or more importantly, if you mistyped a password and you don't get it right, you're not going to have a usable document. And in case you're thinking of the question, because I've been asked this before, Adobe doesn't have a service where we can backdoor into a PDF that you've protected with a password that you've forgotten. We just don't offer that service, and we wouldn't even if we could. Now, I'm just going to go ahead and hit the cancel on this to cancel out of this, and we'll just jump back over to the Finder, because I want you to see what the document looks like now that we've applied that security. Really, all it does is it adds the word secured to it, so that the PDF, though it's exactly what you saw before, it will require a password to open it. And if I were to attempt to make any changes, even after I got it open, I would need to use the second password to unlock it so that I could do that. So now this is a nicely secured, password-protected document. I can send it around for review and comfortably know that I'm not going to get changes made in the document that I don't want, and that I'm going to get good feedback from the document without receiving a bunch of paper back. But sometimes I work with documents that are even more sensitive than this. So what I want to do is switch to this example. This is an agreement, and as such, there is a lot of confidential information in it. As we're working on this document to pull an agreement together that we're going to use over and over again, it's going to run through legal and a bunch of other places, frankly. So what I really want to do is make this document secure to the level that I need. And for that, I'm going to use the integration with Acrobat to Microsoft Purview Information Protection, otherwise known as MPIP. What that does is it actually wraps the file in a protective coating, if you will, that is tied to the LDAP credentials of the person that I want to share it with, or the people. To use this, basically what Altura has done is on the back end, they have set up MPIP with what are called sensitivity labels. And I want to apply one that I can apply based on my credentials or the group that I'm a part of. I'll select it. It's going to log me in, and it's going to give me access to sensitivity labels that are appropriate for my identity. And I can even set different sensitivity labels within different levels of confidentiality and protection based on how I set those MPIP labels up. I want the confidential because it is very confidential information. That is the highest level that my company is using MPIP to protect a file with. When I select it, I'll click Apply, and it doesn't really look like much has happened. But in the background, Acrobat and MPIP have worked together to encrypt the file and tie it to my identity, or the identity of any member of the group to which that label has been applied. And this is great because now I don't have to worry about who's in the group or whatever. I can just apply that sensitivity label, and I know based on the label that that document is protected to the people that I want to send the document to. And the other good piece is that I don't have to worry that, if somebody in the group, let's say they're a bad actor or they leave the company, all IT has to do is remove that user's identity from the group, or actually from the identity system. And that person will no longer have access to that document, even if they remember their email address and password. And so if they take that file on a thumb drive or it's hidden on their hard drive or something like that, it doesn't matter. It's not a usable file. They will not be able to open it because it's tied to the identity to which they no longer have access. I want to show you the process of what it looks like when you receive one of these files, because it's very simple, but it's powerful. So let's go ahead and grab a copy of the file that a colleague has sent me, and it's the co-authoring version. So they've been working on it. They want me to take a look at it. I'll double click, and what's happening right now is that Microsoft's MPIP with Acrobat are combining to ask for my credentials. And all I have to do is type them in, and then I'll select. I'll have it remember me for future access. And then when I'm working with Acrobat, my credentials are now in the system. So I won't have to go through this entire process every time. But for this example, I'll simply type in my email, click on Next. It would go through my authentication process for my company. In this case, we use multi-factor authentication. So I'm not going to go ahead through that process to show you, but I'll go ahead through that. And then once that's done and I've authenticated, then it will open the document. In the document, it shows me the label that has been applied to the document. My access to the document is controlled in that central location by MPIP, and Acrobat is now a user of those services to protect my content. That integration is fantastic because no matter where the document is, no matter who has access to it, all of the access can be changed, and the document can even be revoked as a usable document altogether. So I don't have to worry about it. No matter who has it, no matter where it is, I can live comfortably knowing that my business's content is protected with the combination of Adobe Acrobat and Microsoft technology, specifically MPIP. And that is the power of the integrations that we have with the Microsoft technologies, assisting us with protecting your files to make sure that your content stays your content. Garrett?
Love it, Tim. Thank you as always. Okay, we had a couple questions that I'd like to ask you right now. First one, can Adobe undo password protection?
Yeah, I thought that question would come up, and actually I mentioned that in the demonstration. The answer is no. These security options that we offer to a PDF file are to protect your content. So we don't have any sort of a backdoor way that we can get into a PDF and unlock it for you. If you lock it with security, with specifically password security, and you lose the password, that document is going to be unusable.
Got it. And a follow-up to that, when should I be using password protection versus MPIP?
That's an excellent question. There's probably an overlap there, but password security is as good as the password that you use and the people who are working with the document, their willingness to keep that password secret. So if it's content that you're afraid might go beyond that, that's when you would want to go from the password security to something like the Microsoft MPIP security.
Thank you. And we'll end with one question that I'm sure a lot of the audience is thinking as well. But say if I have a great firewall setup, why should I protect the PDF?
That's an excellent question. That comes up frequently. Having the having the security on board in the document really means that, although you're still going to want to have a good firewall and all of that, it's not necessary to protect that content. And, think of a scenario where, maybe somebody snuck into your company and is able to steal a document somehow by logging into a machine, or, someone accidentally leaves it on a thumb drive or something like that. Having the password or the MPIP security built into the file means that it's not dependent on really anything else to protect it. That file is itself protected, and that adds an additional layer beyond your firewall.
Tim, thank you again, as always. And with that, we are going to move on to our next section, which is the new document builder for Acrobat Sign and Salesforce. Jenny, feel free to take it away.
All right. Thank you, Garrett. Hi, everyone. My name is Jenny Ho, and I'm a senior product partner marketing manager at Adobe for our Adobe Document Cloud business. And I'm here today to show you our new document builder feature functionality for Acrobat Sign and Salesforce. In today's presentation, I'll talk through the data-driven document challenge, all the disconnects that we're seeing today. I'll give you a preview of Acrobat Sign Document Builder, what it is. I'll give you a highlight of our Acrobat Sign and Salesforce integration, why Acrobat Sign and Document Builder helps you streamline your workflows, how it works. I'll show you a great demo. We'll go through a customer testimonial, some beta customer feedback, followed by some ROI stats and how you can get a free trial of Document Builder. Let's take a look at the challenge we're aiming to solve with the new solution. Today, the average sales contract takes roughly about 3.5 weeks to create and approve. And generally speaking, that is way too long, right? Sales reps need to produce a wide range of customized data-driven sales agreements on a daily basis to drive revenue, ensure smooth operations, and minimize business risk. But the current process is very manual, slow, and error-prone. So what are some of those issues? Well, there's hours spent on researching and creating sales documents. Sales reps should be really selling, but they typically only spend about 39% of their time interacting with prospects and customers. And that's because much of their non-selling time is spent on generating sales documents and reports. So sales reps spent hours, days, and even weeks researching and manually re-entering custom data into each agreement. And even when the data they need is kept in Salesforce, it is spread across different objects. For example, accounts, contacts, opportunities, and custom objects, requiring that they manually toggle between different pages to gather the content that they actually need. Now, because sales documents are time sensitive, the early contract we know often wins the deal, right? And time lost manually creating these agreements translate into lost opportunities. So other problems include, your risk of inaccurate data, right? The data that sales documents require, such as customer information, pricing, product details, terms, conditions, policy, all of that, it changes continuously. And many agreements right now, they must be tailored to really reflect the cost of other terms that vary according to location or other business criteria. Even if a sales rep finds the up-to-date information, there's always that chance that they may incorrectly re-enter it, right? And that inaccurate data not only lengthens that approval cycle, if it's not corrected, it can really implicate and create business risk. Lastly, it's time consuming, right? We all know time consuming formatting, when customers want contracts that are clear and easy to read, that's all they want. And as reps insert data from a wide range of sources, it can really wreak havoc with tables, lists, other aspects of document templates, that must be just manually adjusted, right? And to solve these problems, some organizations have purchased standalone document generation software, which injects new and different technology into the current workflow at an added cost of about $20 to $30 per month per user. All right, so let me talk about the new Adobe Acrobat Sign Document Builder functionality that we just launched and introduced. It's really now combining our robust e-signature platform, and now we have that added document generation functionality all in one platform for a single price from a single vendor, right? So what we're doing is we're really converging two markets into one and created that next generation platform that's really superior to the competition, right? One being that our document builder functionality is actually included with the Acrobat Sign license. So if you have an Acrobat Sign license, you have document builder absolutely free. It's all inclusive, right? So again, we're looking to streamline the workflows. We're looking to streamline platforms. And now we've converged two features and functionalities into one platform. So it's really powerful. So let me just reiterate and touch on just our partnership aspect overall, right? The Adobe Acrobat Sign and Salesforce integration. We are a 5-star rated app on the Salesforce App Exchange, and people love us just because it's simple, plug and play. We say no coding required, right? It's built on the Salesforce platform. And we're leveraging the Salesforce admin and user deployment, right? So everything you do, it's actually staying within Salesforce. And we also have that enhanced step-by-step workflow wizard that works in Salesforce in both Lightning and Classic. And folks can, create, sign, send on any device, including mobile. So it's very agnostic. And then security, last but not least, a major value point, right? You've got multiple authentication methods that include things like government ID verification. All right, so let's talk about why Document Builder for Acrobat Sign and the Salesforce integration. Right here, you can see, this is a better way to start really automating your data-driven document generation within Salesforce, right? Because Salesforce data is really always up to date and houses much of that data that these sales documents actually require. And Salesforce and Adobe are long-term partners, right? Our integration was released back in 2006. And we've added many great benefits since then, making it the integration that generates the most Acrobat Sign transactions. And for those of you who are using more of one cloud, for instance, Salesforce Cloud, the document builder feature that I'm about to show you in this presentation actually works across a wide range of Salesforce clouds, right? So you can see here, we work with Sales Cloud, of course, Community Cloud, CPQ, Health Cloud, Financial Services Cloud, CPQ, and all the works of it. All right, so let's talk about why this is so important. By taking a look at just the trends that are driving the e-signature marketplace today, we can start with a look at the rearview mirror, right? When the pandemic first closed offices and required, things like social distancing, e-signature platforms really help businesses keep going, right? They became an essential part of the business continuity, ensuring that governments and businesses of all sizes could process agreements to provide the goals and services that everyone needed. And as time went on, the need for e-signatures just continued to grow, right? So today the market is growing at more than 36% per year. And as organizations really rely more on e-signatures platforms, they want more from them, right? So in 2021, IDC actually identified the top trends in the e-signature space. And they fall into three categories, right? First is that organizations want to automate document workflows that are adjacent to the approval and e-signature phases, starting with the earliest phase, right, which is that document generation phase. Second, they want enterprise-grade platforms with stronger security, compliance, scalability. And last, they want their e-signature platforms to offer great value, right, including tight integrations with enterprise applications that they already rely on, flexible deployment models, and the promise of advanced technologies such as AI. So while this presentation will focus really on Document Builder, I want you to remember that organizations are looking for all of these innovations, right? And that, that will really essentially become a key point in the second part of this presentation. All right, so let's take a look at what the workflow really looks like before document generation is introduced. So to demonstrate the benefits of document generation, we're taking a look at what the process looks like, which organizations used in the past. The steps to really find the data, to re-enter it, to reformat it. It's all very manual, right? And so once the document is actually created, the Salesforce and Acrobat Sign integration automates the remaining phases, often getting agreements signed in minutes, which you see here in the red portion, right? You enter your data, you look for your data in the documents, and then the automated phase of the e-signature is shown on the later half, 8 steps. Now, let's take a look at what the workflow looks like with Document Builder and how it automates the end-to-end document workflow. All right, so fast forward to today, IT can Document Builder enable a document template in minutes, right? So once a sales rep utilizes it, the document can be completed in seconds, and then it is automatically on its way for e-signature, as you see here. So what was once an 8-step process is now down to 4, and everything is completely automated, right? So saving you so much time, and then your workflow is just streamlined all in one place, as you can see in this diagram here. All right, so now it's time to take a look at Document Builder in action. And what I'm going to show you in the next phase of this presentation is a demo on how to create a Document Builder enable template. Today, I'm going to demonstrate a powerful new solution that can significantly simplify and enhance how you would generate and pre-fill documents for signature out of Salesforce. This is an add-on for Acrobat Sign for Salesforce named Adobe Document Builder. Instead of just using static document templates, Document Builder allows you to dynamically generate a document prior to sending for signature. Just like Acrobat Sign for Salesforce, this is a new capability that is included with your Acrobat Sign licensing.
So here we are in Salesforce. But before I show you the end user experience, let me touch base on the setup required for each of your document workflows. Each workflow will have an agreement template that defines the agreement name, Salesforce object type, like opportunity or account, for example. In addition to static documents and templates, a new document template type called Document Builder template has been added. Let me open one that I've created already. These new templates drive a new process that build your documents on the fly, leveraging Salesforce data and rules that determine what data is mapped into the document, as well as dynamic tables or conditional phrases or sections. Here, you can see I've included all the Salesforce fields that will drive this specific workflow. Document Builder generates tag names for each of these, even including opportunity-related data, such as account, opportunity owner, contact, etc., as well as dynamic table data, such as product line items. We use these tag names to build a Document Builder Word template like you would see here. Adobe has developed a Word add-in that assists in laying out all of the fields in the appropriate place in the document. I can create conditional rules that determine which phrases or sections are included or not based upon the Salesforce data. This allows you to use one single Word template. There are places many static documents that otherwise have to be maintained. Now, from the user perspective, I'm back in Salesforce. Click on the opportunities. Now, within the opportunities, I've got my send button here. I can click on that, and there's my sales order agreement template that I just created. It takes me directly here to the agreement template where I can make changes if I need to. But most importantly, you can see that the output of Document Builder document generation has been included directly here in the agreement template. From here, I can hit send. Because I'm the first signer, I'm taken directly to the Adobe Acrobat sign screen where I can sign the document. And that's it. Click OK. And from there, the document is sent to the customer for final signature, and you can see it's waiting for counter signature. I really want to emphasize the fact that we've been able to reduce many steps into one single click of a button where I can generate the document, pre-populate the form, and send it for signature, all within one step, eliminating errors and especially time.
All right, so now you've seen the demo for Document Builder, which does a lot of cool things, and hopefully you guys like that. But I want to introduce some feedback from some of our beta users about their user experience with Document Builder. And here is an example from a mid-market manufacturer. And it just confirms the power of Document Builder compared to a previous solution that this customer was using, which was Nintex, and that was their current DocGen tool. So note that Document Builder was able to handle even some of the most complex document automations that Nintex DrawLoop could not perform. But the benefit of the IT team that they were most excited about was actually the fact that Document Builder was integrated into the element of Acrobat Sign for Salesforce. And so this meant a significant reduction in the management and complexity for them. So you can see some details here. I won't go through it all, but just know that the streamlined platform of having both Acrobat Sign and Document Builder doing the whole automated end-to-end workflow really was what their IT department was excited about. All right, so what can you save by automating DocGen with Document Builder? Let's think through some of the key questions, right? First, consider how much you could save in time and resources with a DocGen solution like Document Builder. Imagine the productivity gains and the potential revenue benefits of having your sales reps spend more time selling, as well as the impact of lower business risk because you can count on the content consistency and accuracy as well. And how will faster cycle times really impact your top line revenue? Wouldn't it be nice to just increase your ROI on the most precious human resources and your IT budget? All right, my next question is, can your e-signature platform meet the next generation criteria? So let's take a hard look at what your current e-signature platform is really doing for you. Can it automate every phase of your document workflows in Salesforce? Are you confident that when you automate those workflows, they will be secure and compliant by design? Can you confidently standardize on those automated workflows in those key geographies in which you operate? And are you giving your staff and customers the high quality digital experiences that they expect? And lastly, are you tired of just being charged extra fees for functionality that should really just be included in your e-signature license fee? And my last question is, how could you benefit from Acrobat Sign's overall proven leadership? Now, we do have an exceptional Salesforce integration, but consider the benefits of having an 100% automated workflows that you can trust with all of the robust features and integrations that you need, all in one place, included in one license fee. Now, IDC said it well. You should consider our solution if you want a robust, global, enterprise class signing solution, one that you can integrate with Salesforce as well as other enterprise applications that you already rely on. And last but not least, here you guys have an opportunity just to get a free Acrobat Sign trial and the Document Builder app. You've seen all the great things that Document Builder can do with Acrobat Sign, and now you can take it for a test drive for free for 30 days. Visit us at the link right here. You can get a free trial. You can also go to our Salesforce App Exchange listing and look for the Adobe Document Builder app. Download it, connect it together, and just take it for, again, like I said, a test drive. Really good stuff here. And if you have any questions at all, need more information, or just want to speak to a live person, feel free to give us a call as well. All right, now over to you, Garrett.
Awesome. Thank you, Jenny. Love to see the progression of these partnerships. So in summary today, what you saw is how to work with PDFs inside Microsoft apps, ensure PDF security and compliance with partners like Microsoft in terms of MPIP or Microsoft Purview Information Protection, and then how to use Acrobat Sign with Salesforce and some of the different integrations we have with that. One more thing that we'd like to do before we go is we have a little icon. It's called the Learn More widget. If you want to talk with one of our sales reps here at Adobe, maybe you just want to noodle on a use case that you're thinking might be beneficial to your workplace, don't be afraid to reach out to our teams. Chances are they've ran into the solution or the workflow that you're trying to accomplish. I know a lot of these sales reps personally, super friendly, super willing to help. So don't be shy and go ahead and click on that widget if you'd like to learn a little bit more. Lastly, we'd like to provide you with some helpful resources in case you'd like to learn a little bit more on some of the integrations that you saw today. And with that, we are going to wrap. Tim, thank you so much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Thanks for having me. It's always my pleasure.
And Jenny, thank you for taking time out of your day to educate us on some of these topics.
No, thank you, Garrett. And thank you to the entire team, and thanks to the audience for watching.
All right. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.